of Release Jam, where we share all of the new and exciting features that we have shipped. This episode of Release Jam is going to be very exciting because we're finally announcing a much awaited feature, and that is the table inline editing feature. I'm so excited for this. But that's not all we'll be sharing on this episode of Release Jam. I'm also going to be showing you the new Airtable integration, which is out of beta. We've made improvements to the Google Sheets integration querying interface, which you would absolutely love, and we've made updates to self-hosted instances to make it easier for you to manage and maintain your instance. I'm sure you're excited for all of these updates, not so? My name is Confident and I'm a developer advocate at AppSmith. Without any delay, let's get started. Awesome. So the first feature we'll be taking a look at today is the inline table editing feature. And to use this, I'm just going to quickly connect to a database and then we can get going. So I'm just going to go to data sources. I'm going to be using the demo users database. And let's create a new query to grab some users. So this is going to be a select query and it's going to grab a bunch of 10 users. I'm going to run this, which is good. And here we have some data coming back as shown below. Now, let's go ahead to display this in a table widget as we would normally do. And here we have the data being displayed in the table widget. I'm going to make a quick edit right here. So I'm going to go to the image column and let's go set the column type to image. And if we scroll all the way through the table, we have those images being displayed. Now, something you would have noticed as I was trying to set this table up is that we now have a new checkbox on each column of the table widget. And that's right, that's for the inline editing feature. So you can go to select what tables you want to be editable by clicking on the checkbox as you see on the columns, or you can click on this editable checkbox to make all columns editable. So I'm just going to click on it, and here we have all columns editable on the table widget. But there's a small catch here. You can only edit tables that have a property value of text or numbers. So for example, you can't go to edit the image column we just configured right here. But columns that have a property of text, as you can see, we have the country column. You see we have a little pen icon showing that this is editable. Now, there are two ways you can set up editing for the table widget. If we scroll down a bit on the property pane of the table widget, you can see we have a new property here called the update mode. And this can be set to row level, or it can also be set to custom. Setting it to row level means that updates or edits can only be made to a single row at a time. So for example, if I go in to set the name of this user to Sakura, for example, so let's go set this to Sakura. And we have that in the edit state, as you can see from the buttons right here. Because this is set to row level edit mode, we can't go into edit a different row from the row that is already being edited. But cells in the row being edited can also be updated. So for example, I can also go here to set the email to be at j@j.com, and that's perfectly fine. So that is for the update mode when it is set to row level mode. Now, for each of these columns that are made editable, you can actually go in to customize the behavior of what happens whenever a save is made. And a save in this case is when the user hits on the enter key after typing in some changes or making edits to the column or hitting on the escape key. So for example, if we take a look at what we have in the name column, you can see here we have a new event called on submit, and here is where you can specify what you want to happen whenever an edit is made to this column. But to make things easy, if you have the entire row editable, we also have this property that is automatically added for you, and it's a new column called the save and discard column. So you can make this hidden if you don't want it to be visible, but we want this to be visible. And here's where we can go set what would happen whenever an entire row has been updated. So this is an easy way to have all of the control for an update or an edit in just one place. So here we can scroll down and see that we have an event for the unsave and also for the discard. When this is saved, for example, we can go in to do a show message, for example. Ideally, this is where you would want to write updates back to the database, but for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to do a show alert, and let's display whatever we have in table1.updated row, and we can say .name here. So that's updated row.name. And whenever we go to click on the save button, as you already guessed, it's going to run that action, and here we can see the name of the user that has been updated. Now, to enable you to make updates to the database, we've exposed new properties inside of the table widget for you to read what change has been made to the table widget. So to show you how to use it, I'm just going to go to the widget section. Let's grab a text widget for debugging purposes, and I'm just going to put it right here in the canvas. I'm going to expand this. And the first property I'm going to be showing you is the updated row property, which you saw earlier. So let's take a look at what we have here. So if we take a look at what we have in table1.updated row, you notice that this is the same data of the row you saw earlier, but with the update that has been made, with the user's name here being Sakura. So this is how you get to figure out what edits or updates has been made to a selected row. In cases where you have the update mode set to custom, that is when you want to be able to update multiple rows, for example. We also have exposed the property for you to see all of the updates that have been made across all rows in the table widget. So let's bring in a second text widget so that I can show you how to take a look at this property. So this is going to be inside of the table widget. In this case, the name of the table is table1. So it's going to be table1.updated rows. We also have the updated row indices, but to see all of the actual updates, take a look at what we have in updated rows. And I'm going to set this to scroll. Right now it's an array, but an array of just one item because we are only editing a single row. But if we head back to the table widget and set the update mode to custom, and let's go into update a different row. For example, I'm going to edit the second row. Now we're having two edits that are not yet saved to the database, one from the first row, and now we're going to edit the second row. So let's set this to gmail.com. And taking a look at the property we have in the updated rows, you see now we have two items in the array with all of the data from the rows we have updated. So this is a really cool feature, and it's going to make it possible for you to have edits within a table without creating separate views for an update form or an update workflow. All of that can be done right here within the table widget, and I'm so excited for this feature. Alright, so the next feature we'll be taking a look at are updates we've made to the Airtable integration, and let's switch over to the next page so that we can take a look at them. The first thing I'd like to let you know at this point is that the Airtable integration is out of beta, so please feel free to try it out and let us know your thoughts. Let's go ahead to connect to an Airtable base I already have set up. So I'm just going to open up that Airtable base and we shall take a look at this right now. Alright, while that's loading up, let's go try to connect to that Airtable base. And I'm going to go to data sources, and here we have the Airtable integration. And the first thing you notice right here is that we now support two types of authentication when connecting to Airtable. We have the API key authentication and the bearer token authentication, all of that which is supported in the official Airtable APIs. So let's head over to the base, and I'm just going to grab my API key. So let's go to the docs, and here we have the API documentation. Alright, we can go over to authentication and show API key. And here, I'm just going to grab my API key. Now you notice both of these authentication methods I showed you earlier are actually supported from the official Airtable API. So you have the API key method and you also have the bearer token method. And for each of these, you just need your API key to connect to your Airtable base. So I'm going to set this to bearer token and paste in my key. And once we click on save, we can go ahead to start writing queries to interact with the Airtable base. Now, the exciting feature about the Airtable integration is that all of the commands when it comes to using the Airtable API is supported right here on AppSmith out of the box. So be it a list record command, a create record, a delete, a retrieve, and update record command, all of these commands are supported right now on AppSmith. And you can also verify by taking a look at the docs right here. We have all of these commands supported right here on AppSmith. And that's not all. For all of the options that this command supports, we actually also have them enabled right now on AppSmith. So I can show you this. So for example, the list record command has a lot of options to build up a query. So for example, you have all of these options, and if we head back to AppSmith, let's select the list record command. You can see we have all of those same options right here within AppSmith to make it possible for you to write very rich query that can interact with your database. So this is the Airtable integration, and I'm so happy it's out of beta and now everyone can go try it out. So please take a look at this, guys, and let us know your thoughts on this integration. Now, the next feature we'll be taking a look at is enhancements we've made to the Google Sheets integration. I'm happy to let you know at this point that we've revamped the query experience of the Google Sheet integration to make it easier for you to manage your sheets and write complex queries. So let me show you this. Let's connect to the Google Sheets data source and I can show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to data sources. Let's go to Google Sheets. Right here, you notice that in addition to be able to read, edit and create files, you also have an option to delete files. So this is complete Google Drive management right here from within AppSmith. So I'm going to select the last option to have all of the full CRUD abilities, and let's go to save and authorize the data source. I'm going to choose my account, and let's give this permissions to read my Google Drive folder. And that's it for connecting to Google Sheets. So if you go create a new API, you'll notice that the interface right here has been updated. So no need for you to go copy Google Sheets URLs or page names or sheet names to the query interface right here. You can do all of that from within the GUI, or if you choose to, you can write JavaScript in cases where you need dynamic properties. So for example, directly do a search here. So for example, I can do a search for the book review data sheet. And for the sheet name, we would be writing a query to the users sheet. And here are options to customize the query. So we've been able to do all of this from within the UI without copying links. And you can click on the JS button to be able to write JavaScript whenever you want to, but we're just going to use the query interface as is. So if I go ahead to run this, we should have a bunch of users coming back. As you can see, we have a bunch of users coming back. And the reason why this is so important is that we're able to write complex filters without writing JavaScript if we choose not to. So I can scroll down, for example, and here you can see that we have a filter option right here within the UI. So I can do a filter right now to say, let's only grab users whose user ID is less than 10. And we can also do a sort. So let's say, let's sort by user ID and make this ascending. So if I go ahead to run this, and if you take a look at the data that is returned back here, you can see we're only getting users that have a user ID less than 10 and also sorted by that user ID. So this is really interesting because it makes it so much easier to write complex queries and interact with your Google Sheets all from a clean UI. And don't forget what I mentioned earlier, you can actually go into each of these properties and write JavaScript in cases where you need these properties to be dynamic. I think this update to the Google Sheets integration is awesome, and you'd love it whenever you have the chance to try it out. Now, the last features we'll be taking a look at are updates we've made to the self-hosted instances. So let's switch over to the self-hosted tab. And the first I'd like to show you is an update we've made to make your instances more secure. So I'm just going to open this up in the docs. I'm going to be leaving a link below to this page in the docs in case you love to find out more. But this is a security feature that gives you better control over where you want your self-hosted AppSmith applications to be embedded, and it's called Frame Ancestors. So you can enable specific domains to be able to embed your AppSmith application, and you do that by using this environment variable. Like I said earlier, I'll be leaving a link below in case you want to check this out, but this is a security feature we are putting out in place so that you have better control over where you want your instances to be embedded in. We've also made other updates to the self-hosted instance. For example, the AppSmith ETL now supports entire instance backup and restore, and we also have a new estimate billing command for the enterprise users to be able to estimate their monthly billing based on their current usage. So all of these updates are live right now at the moment, and if you'd love to learn more about all of the updates we've shared today, I'm going to leave a link below to the release notes and also to our monthly roundup so that you can dig deep into all of these updates and check them out for yourself. Alright, so we just took a look at a bunch of awesome features in this episode of Release Jam. I hope you're excited as I am to try out all of these features. Please do let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to get subscribed. Alright, that's all for this episode of Release Jam. So I see you later. Take care and have a nice day. Bye bye.